Hi guys, welcome again. I hope that everybody enjoyed yesterday's class and I hope that you are ready for today's. Today I'm going to explain a little about your second conditional topic and then I'll assign your homework for probably Monday. First we are going to do all the conditional in Spanish and then, sorry, in Spanish not, in positive and then we will do it in negative. Um, so, second conditional. Second conditional uses the following terms: if and would. Now, we were saying yesterday that the difference between these concepts and the concepts that we used in the first conditional is that even if is used in the same form, would will not be used in the same form because would is a probability. So if means si as a condition, not as a positive. You're not saying si me gusta, if I would, if I like it. You cannot say if I like it, si me gusta, and this is not used in the same form. And would, it's a probability, but would it's used as a suffix in Spanish, so there's no direct translation for this. But if you say would eat, the translation or interpretation of it would be comería. So I don't know if this is helping for you, but the meaning of would be dia. Dia or dio, depending on what you're using. I'm going to write another example. For an example, would cry. And then you would write lloraría. And again, would be ría. Because comería y lloraría are probabilities. You're not making a promise that you will do it. You're just saying that you may do it. So would it's used in the second conditional in Spanish as a separate in English as a separate word, but in Spanish it's just a suffix of what it is. Now, for you to be able to make a second conditional, I'm going to give you a formula that you can start. And remember that you can write opposites of the same sentence. Not opposites. Inverted versions of it. So let's start when we start with F. And then we add to that, based on page 107, F plus noun. Let's make the X's with black so you don't confuse them. Remember that all of this should be copied in your notebook, okay? F plus noun plus verb in past. Please don't forget. Sorry, guys. Don't forget that the verb is going to be written in past. Plus. And then you just can write a complement. Remember that the complements that you are writing, all of them should be different. So if you repeat in your complements, then every time that you repeat it is -1 because I don't want complements that are look like the other. I need everything to be different because I need to see how creative you can be. So push yourself and invent everything that you can. Plus in here we are going to add a comma because when you start with F you need a comma after the complement. Then plus a comma, and then I'm gonna continue in here, and then we are going to use the same noun that we used before. So one is gonna be on top of each other. See, the noun is gonna be the same. If you write I, then you are going to write I, because you're writing a conditional for the same person. If you ate popcorn, you would be sick. Okay? Okay. And then plus would. I'm sorry guys. I think that the ice cream truck is coming, so you're gonna hear everything of it. Plus, they're selling papel higiénico apparently. Now, verb. Sorry. Verb in present. Plus, finally, your complement. Now, even if the formula looks a little complicated, it's really easy once you start using your nouns. Now, let's make an example with every one of the nouns. Let's start with I. With I, okay? So we write if noun I, verb in past, moved, complement. Sorry, you're not gonna understand because everything is green. Examples. I hope that this is better. Number one, if I moved, verb in past, the chair, comma, see, complement, comma, noun again, I would, verb in present, cry, complement, a lot. Okay? So in this case, you're using the formula as I'm giving it to you, and then you have to write the opposite of it for every sentence that you're making. What would be the opposite? The opposite of the sentence would be making the same sentence, so you have the same information, so you don't have to invent anything. You just have to write it in the opposite. So you write I, and then you start after the comma. After the comma is where you are going to start. I would cry if I moved the chair. Period. So as you can see, if I move the chair, it's written in here, and then I would cry a lot is written in here. So when you're writing the opposite of the sentence, you don't need a comma, only at the beginning. Okay? Let's make another example. Now, yesterday some of your parents were asking if it's necessary to translate them. This kind of sentence doesn't make a lot of sense in Spanish because it adds something called hubiera in Spanish, and we don't have that word in English. We just have a probability, because if we translated word by word, it would not make any sense. We say, si yo movido la silla, yo hubiera llorado un montón. O yo lloraría mucho. So in this case, you can either write hubiera or ría for would. But if you try to translate it, it's gonna be complicated for you. So do not translate it. Write everything in English with the formula that I'm giving you. And guys, grammar, it's like PE. Not as funny as you like PE, but it requires you to practice, 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 practice. So you have to practice a lot. Okay. So let's make another example. Example number 2. If we already make an example with I, now you. And we wrote, if you wrote past of write, complement a letter, comma, noun, again, you, because this is what we're using, you, and then would, and then verb in present, you would see your mom. Okay? Doesn't have to be really long complements because the sentence is already really long. Now, for us to be able to write the comma is in there. For us to be able to write the opposite, you, we just start with the word after the comma. You would see your mom if, no comma, you wrote a letter. See, the topic is very simple because it just asks you to do the opposite of what you did at the beginning. And the purpose of that is so you practice, 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 practice. So when you're making the negative, you will have no problem. Now, we made examples with I and you, and then the same examples would be with we and they. So let's make one example with the third person, she and he, or she and it, to see if there's a change. Now, you have your formula in the notebook, so you can copy from the notebook. Let's just remember. Number 3, let's make example with she. Let's say that we were already in she. She, and then we start if she, and then verb in past. Your same sentence can be your formula. If she cried, complement, all day, all and not old. This is todo, this is viejo. So if you write this, your sentence is incorrect. Okay? Not this. If she cried all day, comma, she, because we're talking about she, would have swollen eyes. Because we're talking about present. In this case, have means property. Her eyes would be all swollen because she would be crying. Now, how do we write the opposite of this? We start after the comma. She would have swollen eyes F, no comma, F. See, we wrote until here and then we go on the top. If she cried all day. So as you can see, there's not a lot of complication in the topic because we're just starting with the formula and then we wrote the same sentence but in the opposite order. So that's everything that is going to be your homework. Now I'm going to write you in here a list of all the words and all the verbs and all the nouns that you are going to use to make your sentences. Okay, so this should be copied in your notebook. So pause the video and copy it, but I'm going to erase it so I can write you the examples. So what I will give you is that we will make 64 sentences. So we will write 64 sentences, okay? So we will write a sentence paired with pairing a noun and a verb together. So you have to put them together. I'm gonna make an example. For an example, I, you, we, they, she, he, and it. Now, we have 7 nouns, so because of that, we are going to add 9 verbs to every noun, so you can have 64. So, for I, remember that you should write them in the past, some of them. I'm gonna give you examples, so chill. So I have you're gonna write the verbs cry, stay, cut, moan. And remember, these are some of the ones that we used in the lists. So please, if you don't know the meaning, go to the lists, and if you don't remember, you can just Google them. Cry, stay, cut, moan, cook, scream, learn. So you are going to make 7 sentences with I and the formula. So I'm going to give you the examples of some of them. For an example, I'm going to make I, and then number 1, I have cry, so I write if I, but you have to make the opposites. So you are only going to make 3 of them. Much better. Because you have to write the opposites of them. So there would be 6, almost 7. Okay. If I, and then you have to write the past. Remember, you start with the past. So these ones are the ones that you're going to take into the past at the beginning of the sentence. If I, what would be the past of cry? Cried. If I cried on, I know the marker, I'm sorry, on the hall, comma, I would be punished. Okay, that would be your first example. Let me see if another marker works better. Now, this should be written in the opposite. So we just write. After the comma, I start. I would be punished. See, only copying what you already wrote. And then you write whatever the sentence started with. I would be punished if I cried on the hall. See? Now, we are going to make one with stay. we write number 2. If I, because we are using I, what would be the past tense of stay? Stayed up all night. I, again the same noun, would be sleepy. And then you are just going to write the opposite of the same sentence. You start after the comma. I would be sleepy if I stayed up all night. See? Nothing complicated. And then the last example, cut. 3, because you're going to make 3 sentences with the opposites of them. If I, what would be the past tense of cut? Now, this is an irregular one. Cut is cut. So, if I cut vegetables, comma, I would eat healthy. And now the opposite of that would be the same sentence after the comma. I would I would eat, see, the same sentence, healthy. See, they're almost even written in the same area. I would eat healthy if, no comma, I cut vegetables. Okay? So as you can see, this is very simple. You just have to follow the formula that I wrote before, and the same sentences can help you to follow your formula. So you are gonna make 3 sentences in the opposite, so 6 sentences per each, so it's not gonna be 64 sentences. It will be, if we have 7 nouns times 6 sentences each, it'll be 42 sentences. See? Right? Yeah, 42. So I'm going to write in here after this, because you already have this, the first, all the ones that you are going to write after this one. You can always pause the video and go back to see everything that you were supposed to have, and copy and pause it. Oh, sorry. Happens when you have an improv school in your house. Okay, so with I, you're gonna write those. You clean, cook, hit. If you don't know them, you can Google them. We write, read, moan, they complain, teach, drive, she, comb your hair, wash, watch, he, do your homework, do the dishes, whatever you do. Erase, scream, eat, the dog or the cat or an animal, bark, eat, drink. See, all of them very easy. Remember that some of them are irregulars, like drink, the past tense of drink is drank, the past tense of eat is ate, drive is drove, teach is taught, write is wrote, and I think those are the only ones that are irregulars. So remember all of this for Monday, and then I'm gonna assign tomorrow. I'm gonna assign another one for Tuesday. I hope that you're okay, guys, and this is very clear. So I'm guessing that if you have any question, you can write them on the platform, and don't post anything on the walls, only in private messages. See you guys.